How the 1959 cranberry scare sparked a Thanksgiving crisis just weeks before Thanksgiving in 1959, a public health warning led many Americans, President Dwight D. Eisenhower included, to leave cranberry sauce off their holiday menus. On November 9, 1959, the U.S. Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare issued a surprising announcement: cranberries from the Pacific Northwest may have been tainted with a herbicide linked to cancer in lab rats. The potential threat cast a shadow over one of Thanksgiving's signature dishes. As the New York Times reported, the government advised consumers to avoid cranberries canned or fresh unless they could be sure of the berry's origin. Thus began what became known as the Great Cranberry Scare of 1959, a nationwide alarm that tanked cranberry sales and sent consumers searching for new side dishes. Life magazine suggested alternatives such as pickled watermelon rind. Even the Eisenhowers reportedly substituted apple sauce for the traditional cranberry relish that year. The Delaney Clause and a new era in food safety. The warning stemmed from the 1958 Food Additives Amendment to the 1938 Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. A key provision called the Delaney Clause, named for Congressman James J. Delaney, banned any food additive found to cause cancer in humans or animals. The following year, the FDA found traces of the herbicide imitriazole in cranberries from Washington and Oregon, later identifying contamination in other states as well. Lab studies had shown that the chemical could suppress thyroid function in rats, leading to tumor development. To mitigate risk, Secretary Arthur Fleming urged producers to hold back cranberries from potentially affected regions until proper testing protocols were in place. By Thanksgiving week, over 16 million pounds of safe cranberries had been cleared for sale, but the damage to public perception was already done, a very big backlash. The warning caused a ripple effect. Grocery stores and restaurants pulled cranberries from their shelves, and federal inspectors began seizing products for testing. The scare became fodder for political cartoons and even inspired a novelty song, Cranberry Blues, by Robert Williams and the Groovers. It was a significant event, says Todd Irington, director of the Eisenhower Presidential Library and Museum. While it's not widely remembered today, at the time it made national headlines. The White House was flooded with telegrams and letters, some praising the government for acting swiftly, others expressing outrage. Archivist Kristen Crossley noted that cranberry growers, in particular, were incensed. One Canadian woman even demanded an apology from Eisenhower on behalf of her father, a cranberry farmer. Cranberries on the campaign trail. The scare also became a political talking point. Vice President Richard Nixon and Senator John F. Kennedy, soon to be presidential rivals, both made bold shows of cranberry support while campaigning in Wisconsin, a major cranberry-producing state. Nixon downed for helpings of cranberry sauce, assuring reporters there was no need for panic. Ironically, cranberries from that dinner were later found to contain imitriazole. Not to be outdone, Kennedy drank 2 glasses of cranberry juice at a public event the same evening. The Washington Post cheekily dubbed the moment bipartisan cranberry consumption. Despite the politicians' efforts, consumer confidence remained low. By mid-November, fresh cranberry sales had dropped 63% and canned cranberry sales had plunged by 73%. To help stabilize the industry, the federal government issued over $8 million in compensation to affected growers. The legacy of the cranberry scare. The 1959 cranberry crisis marked one of the first major nationwide food recalls in the U.S. Although later studies questioned whether the levels of imitriazole found posed any real health threat, the episode underscored the government's commitment to food safety even at the cost of a beloved holiday tradition. Ultimately, the food industry pushed back against rigid standards like the Delaney Clause. In 1996, the rule was repealed under the Food Quality Protection Act, which introduced a more flexible standard. Food additives could remain legal as long as there was reasonable certainty of no harm. Today, cranberries are once again a Thanksgiving staple, but the 1959 scare remains a fascinating chapter in the history of food regulation and public trust.